So you're a loser with no friends. Well, I was once like you, a loser with no friends. And after many years of hard work and determination, I'm still a loser, but I have a couple friends, so there's hope. So as many of you know, I'm an FPV pilot who mainly flies freestyle. And I believe that one of the best things about this hobby is being able to enjoy it with other people. And honestly, if I wasn't able to fly with other people and experience that, I probably would have quit a long time ago. So anytime I post a video on YouTube that's about me hanging out with people flying drones, I get comments like, oh, I wish I knew people to fly FPV with. There's no one near me who flies FPV. I have no friends. I'm a loser who doesn't fly with anybody because there's nobody near me. You know, stuff like that. And so it got me thinking, maybe the problem isn't that there are no people around you. Maybe you just don't have the resources to find people to fly with. So that's what I'm here for. Now, if you live on the top of a mountain in the middle of Wyoming or something like that, I'm not really sure if I can help you, but for everyone else, I'm gonna go ahead and explain some of the things that I did to find friends to fly my FPV drone with. Now, I should put out a little bit of a disclaimer here. I understand that not every single person who flies FPV wants to fly with other people. I get that, and that's totally fine. Sometimes maybe you just wanna go out and fly by yourself to get away from other people. And that's totally valid, and I get it. But I need to be more clear with my messaging sometimes because I feel like some people don't fully comprehend everything that I'm saying. So I just want to be clear. If you have no interest in that, that's totally fine. And honestly, this advice is not exclusive to FPV only. It works for pretty much anything. So if you have other hobbies or anything like that and you're struggling to find other people to do those hobbies with, this advice will basically work the exact same way. Now, I don't live in like a massive city or anything. Maybe about 1 million people or so. But we have a very active multi-GP chapter, a handful of freestyle pilots. But when I first started, I didn't really know how to find people to fly with. So the first thing that I did was nothing. I didn't really do anything. But one day I was down at the Metro Park where they do multi-GP races and they were just wrapping up and practicing or whatever. I met some guys down there who told me about the Facebook groups for my area. So I got in there and then the rest was history. I just started meeting people. And then a couple of months later, January 2023, I traveled to Tampa, Florida for a Botgrinder meetup, met a whole bunch of people. And now I know people all across the country that fly FPV. I've got a solid crew of people here in Columbus that fly FPV. So you just gotta put in the work. That's really what it comes down to. And that's how I did it. It's fucking loud out here. Now, it's quite possible that you live in the middle of nowhere and maybe there is really no one around you. And this is gonna be a little bit more difficult for you, but there are a few options. You have events. There are events all over the place. There's Beast of the East, there's West Coast Throwdown, there's Castle Crash. There's all kinds of FPV events that you can go to and meet people and fly with other people. And this may mean that you just travel once a year and that's the only time you really get to fly with other people. But I guess that's just the cost of, you know, living in seclusion. Furthermore, if you have the means to do so, you can start meeting people online and then start traveling frequently and going to fly with people. Like, let's say, for example, you live in the middle of Michigan. From the most northern point of Michigan, it's only a 4-hour drive to Detroit. So that could be something that you do once a month. I've flown all over the country. I've driven places. I drove to Chicago last summer. It was like a 6-hour drive. Yeah, I hate driving. I hate driving far distances, but I did it and I got to hang out with some cool people, meet some new people, and it was fun. We had a great time. And I'd recommend trying that. Now, there are obviously other places where there are no cities near you and it may be a further drive and maybe that's not something you want to do. But there's always a way to go find people to fly with. But if you can't travel, it is what it is, and that's just the nature of the business, you know what I mean? It's just the nature of things. So I held this meetup last summer and people came down and a couple people said this is the first time they'd ever flown with anyone. They drove a couple of hours and flew with other pilots for the first time. So if they can do it, you can do it. And I understand that traveling can be difficult. Driving far distances isn't for everybody, but it's one of those things that maybe you do every so often. You don't have to do it all the time. And you may be thinking, oh wait, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's no cities near me. There's definitely no one near me. It's possible that there might be somebody near you. And there are ways to figure that out. And that is to get online.
America Online can do all that?
There are plenty of Discord groups with plenty of FPV pilots out there. I have a Discord, which I'll leave a link for you. And I know that Botgrinder has a pretty active Discord. Spider Sugar has an active Discord. There's Discords all over the place. And also, I don't really want to recommend it because it's kind of toxic, but Facebook. So if you dare get on Facebook, go ahead and do that too. But be wary, most of the FPV groups on Facebook are pretty toxic. I will say as a caveat that there probably are a small percentage of people who are not really within proximity of any other pilots. And it's also possible that you don't have the means to travel very often. Maybe you have a family and you have things that going on all the time. And that's totally fine. But I would say do your best, find a way to make it happen, because flying with other people is just a whole nother experience. Now, if you live in a city, even a small city, and you think that there's nobody who flies near you, that's probably not true. And you probably just need to look a little bit harder. And there's most certainly probably some sort of Facebook group or Discord server or something where you can find other people to fly your FPV drone with. I know, for example, in the state of Ohio, out of all the cities, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Toledo, I know that there are pilots in pretty much all of those cities. So at the very least, if you live in Ohio, then I know that within driving distance, there are other pilots that you can hang out with. Now, this advice doesn't really go to anybody who lives internationally outside of the United States, because I don't live outside of the United States. So I don't know if this is really applicable to you. I don't know the climate over there. I don't know about any of that stuff. I don't know, I guess it may still be applicable. You just gotta look around and see what's going on. So recently in a video that I made, there was a comment where somebody said they were from Tampa and they have nobody else to fly with, which is really interesting because I know a bunch of people who fly in Tampa, and there are people in these areas where there are predominantly large FPV crews and they don't know about these FPV crews. As FPV crews groups across the country, I think we all need to do better of promoting that we have people to fly with. I'm not really sure what the best approach to that is, but I think one thing that anyone can do is get on Discord. And even if you get on Discord and you don't find anybody in your area, there may be someone in that group who knows somebody in your area or knows somebody who knows somebody in your area. You just got to get in there and start talking to people. That's really what it all comes down to. And trust me on this, having friends to enjoy things that you enjoy with is way better than not having friends to not enjoy things with.